Hello all. Those of you that were watching me walk and do my live video, I apologize. My phone died. Then my headphones died. Then I had 3% on my watch by the time I got home. I did 8.66 miles in 2 hours and 52 minutes. And I know I shouldn't, but Wendy's French fries today. So it got me to thinking. There was times when I really didn't have any money. There was times when I was going back and forth between New Jersey and Florida. And the ex was not giving me any money. And I had such little money, sometimes no money. And I was working at Children's Place. And I actually called out one time because I didn't have enough gas and I wasn't getting paid till the next day. But I think I've said this in other videos. A friend of mine, she would say, come over and we'll go walking, after I get the kids off to school. And I did. And when we were done walking, oh, you want coffee? Oh, here. And she'd have coffee cake or danishes or cookies. And I would eat them because I didn't know if that was all I was eating all day, because I had nothing in the house to eat and no money to buy food. And then we'd sit there and talk, and then she's like, here, you want a sandwich? And I was like, or she would have a bagel, and I'm like, I'll just have a bagel toasted, nothing. And I went to my sister-in-law's. My one sister did invite me over time to time for dinner when I would be up this way. And I welcomed it, because sometimes that was the only meal I was getting all day. And I'm not saying this to feel sorry for me. It makes me wonder. Mine was just because the ex would not give me any money. And I'm wondering, because when I did have I was eating like off the dollar menu, which wasn't the healthiest. So I'm wondering, people out there that are overweight and are doing the same. Eating, I know people that go to the dollar store for food and, eating my fries, but wondering how many people, and to feed their families, they're eating so unhealthy because they might not qualify for those food stamps, but they really don't have enough money because they're trying to keep a roof over the head, or they're trying to pay the rent, which rents are outrageous. I don't know where anywhere else in the country, but in New Jersey, rents are ridiculous. House prices are ridiculous. So if you're renting, and like my landlord, he raised me from $1,750 to $2,200. I was like, holy crap, are you kidding me, dude? And was going to raise me $2,400. And he's like, well, the market calls for it. Go out there, see what you can find. So, sorry, this is my lunch. Not the best, but cheap. My iced tea. But it just makes me think. And our healthcare system, why aren't there, like, if your health insurance, people would be much healthier if they could get access to healthy food. So how about create classes, our healthcare system, and say, well, I need to drink my water. How about having classes on budget-friendly, healthy meals, shopping on a budget, shopping for healthy food on a budget, I should say, and teaching people, give people the tools that, I mean, I've been eating healthy, and I've said this before, a package of chicken, holy crap, but a thing of tofu, $2.99. I think it's $3 something now, but still. And I'm looking up recipes now where they're shredding it, and a block of tofu. But even if you do, like, you can make a chili with tofu. You can make, I don't know if it's a healthy, well, it's not bad for you. Oh yeah, it is. It's a healthy one, that recipe. If you take tofu and shred it, so it's kind of like ground meat, and mix it with, I mean, there's so many things, mixing it with vegetables, sauteing an onion, mushrooms, and trying to stretch it out. And even if not, it's the best for you, but make a little sauce with it and put it over pasta. So, your family gets the protein. Yes, they get the pasta with the carbs. But I found this one pasta. It was actually reasonable. It was like $1 something a box. And it was low in carbs and sugar and all of that happy stuff. And so I think, sorry, if they taught these, and some people, I don't like the texture of tofu. I have served it and people have eaten it that don't even know. And I had a friend that, tofu really has no taste. So it absorbs the flavors of what you're cooking it in. So people that are unhealthy, and some people just don't gain weight, so they're just naturally thin. Hate those people. No, I'm only kidding. What's this guy looking at? And so it's really, and to come up with a budget, like, there's our government should have these. They should have them in school. When I was in high school, we had a class, and I think it was in our home ec class. Home ec taught cooking, they don't have that anymore. Home ec taught sewing. I don't know if you need that, but whatever. But I think one of the things was, you were given, you picked out of a hat what your job was. So say your job was, some was a grocery store manager, some was an attorney, some were your, and we're talking way back, your wife, doesn't work. You have 2 kids. You have 1 kid. You would have to find, and it was real time, find a place to live within your budget. And you had to go to the grocery store and, figure out meals, and then what you would have to buy, and then how much would it have cost you, and how much do you have a car payment. And a lot of people back then didn't. A lot of people bought used cars. Nowadays everybody buys new or leases or certified used. And sorry, I am hungry. There's a car. It's like an burnt orange. And you wouldn't think that sounds a nice color, but it is, because it's dark and deep. So it's not like bright orange. This lady's like looking at me. Everybody's looking at me. Like, who's she talking to? I'm talking to myself. So it taught you how to come up with a budget. It taught you how to balance your checkbook. My kids, well, my daughter, being a finance, she does come up with a budget. She does. My son, that he has a budget, but I don't think he knows how. Even by the time my brother's generation, which he's six years younger than me, the way I think it had been done away with by his, that it was not required, because home ec was required for us 1 year. And how he balanced his checkbook is he went to the ATM and saw his balance. Well, you wrote checks, you sent out checks, and are you freaking kidding me? So he's like, oh, I need you to put money in my account, because he gave me a savings account because he didn't want it in his name. And so it was in my name, but I knew it was his. He'd be like, you need to put money in my checking account. You need to put money in my checking. Oh my God. And back then, it was some establishments where, like, if you used your ATM card, debit card, whatever you want to call it, your debit card, it took 24 to 48 hours back then. Now we're talking when he was right out of high school. And like I said, he's like, well, he's 5 years younger than me. 5 years younger than me. So, I don't know how many years ago. It's probably like good 30 years ago. And, wait, 30. Yeah, exciting. This is mind-blowing. Because I will be out of school 40 years. Holy guacamole, right? I'm doing that math right? 40 from 58 is 18. Wow. Holy shit. That's blowing my mind. So, like, probably he's like 35 years ago. So days, so like I said, he just, that's how he balanced his, he didn't even know how to balance a checkbook. Oh my God, someone will buy a pizza box open and they're eating pizza. I don't know if it's a whole pie or not. But I just saw this guy and it made me think. I see more and more guys, which, sorry, turn off for me. I don't know why, it just does not appeal to me, and it's a turn off. Guys with the long beards. I'm not sure, like, I like a beard close shaven. I do not like, not even some, I'm sorry, it just, I don't know why, it's a turn off for me. But, yeah, so these schools, our schools, need to go back to that. Teach them life skills. Because some of these kids, mommy and daddy give them whatever they want. Give them a car. Give them any money they need. Don't make them work. Some do. I'm not saying all. And then they wonder why they can't get them out of their house at 30 and they haven't found someone, and because you're doing everything for them. If they need money, here you go. And I can't find a job. Well, you need to find a job. I can't find a job that I would like. Well, you don't always find a job. Like, my nephew came back from the Disney program and he couldn't find a job in his field at first. He has now. So he went back to work where he worked in high school, Chipotle, and through college. Chipotle. I mean, he has a college degree and he's working at Chipotle. But it's what he could find. You know, he knew he could go back there. He wanted the flexibility of different hours to interview and things like that. So, I know I'm being very bad today. And so I walked almost a little over 8.5 miles, and here I am eating French fries today, right? But I really, and I think a lot of fast food, a lot of people fast food, and I'm not big on fast food, but I need to, for lunch, I need to get back in the habit of making my lunch and bringing it to work. I kind of got out of it because my boss was like every other day buying me lunch, and I was like, oh my God. So I do have to take off because I'm looking at the time, but it's going to be a short video because I do have to throw the garbage out from my car. But so I really, 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 I'd like to hear from you. Like, I think we're in a society, really, not all, it's that they don't make their kids work through high school. They don't make them work through college. They're like, I can afford, why? I want them to concentrate on school. Some kids can't. My daughter worked up until senior year. She only worked in the summer. She worked at Dairy Queen. But she did kind of but it was the weekends only, into the school year, but on the weekends. She was very focused on her education, and she just, my son could balance that more. She was like, I gotta study if I'm working, and I have to get to bed by a certain. She's very regimented with her schedule. My son had that flexibility and everything. So, two different kids, two different mindsets. So even if your child can't work and go to school, I don't know why my phone is dimming, then in the summer, on the weekends, I think we are, I know people that, and it goes back to house rich, money poor. Even walking in my development, I see parents that mommy's coming home with the kids from probably picking them up for daycare, babysitter, I don't know, 7:30 they're pulling in. Then as I loop back around, it's like 8, daddy's just getting home from work. And mommy, not only did she pick the kids up, but she's got fast food or Chinese food or takeout food. So they're working to support this big monster. And I just saw a video on Rachel Ray and some people, how they, criticize her for different things and whatever. But one of the things she decided was she wanted to focus on her career. She wanted to build this career. Her goal was to get on TV, and she felt that it would not be fair to her child to bring a child into this world. And, you know, sounds like gunshots. It's like freaking weird. Bring a child in because she would not be a good mom if she was so focused on her career. And her husband was okay with that. And that's what, like, I did not want to go back to work full time after my kids. And if my job would have told me it's full time or nothing, I would have looked for something closer. I didn't want to travel. It was 20 minutes, half hour in traffic. I really didn't. I wanted to stay local, and I would have looked for something. And it worked out for me because my law firm, you know, broke up. The partners, there was a big thing with someone taking too much money. And so I was laid off. So and it was a time when unemployment ran, like, I got 2 extensions. So a year and a half. And then we did without, you know, for me to stay home. My son, he needed a lot of attention. So my thing is, hey, parents that have to work to make ends meet, both parents, I'm not saying those parents, but the parents that are choosing to work 12, 14-hour days to afford this big monstrosity of a house, and just to keep up with the Joneses or appearances or whatever. And I know people that I had an aunt that lived in New York, and she worked in this very prestigious office. And my grandmother worked at our church thrift store. It had furniture. It had, you know, knick-knack things. It had clothes. You name it, it had it. And when stuff came in, name label things that were popular, and if they came in good condition, or sometimes even new condition, my grandmother, you know, would buy them for her and let her reimburse her, because it was, you know, and she had a dress that, and she said, oh, I have a couple of things for you. And she's like, oh, and she goes, your favorite store? And she's like, oh yeah, Macy's, Lord and Taylor. And she spoke up so people would, so she raised her child, sorry. I think she only had one. Yeah, she only had one, a son. She raised him by herself in New York. Not easy. So those parents that are, you know, either by themselves, or this is the jobs they have, and so therefore in the jobs that they have don't pay enough, don't pay that much, they don't have a college education for whatever reason, by choice or just financially couldn't do it, or had to go to work, whatever the situation may be, you know, I'm, you know, I'm not talking about those people, but people that choose to, if you're choosing to have children, but you're also choosing to work 12, 14-hour days, not fair to the child. Also not fair to spouses. And I think that is, and a friend of mine said that they were building their careers and their marriage suffered because they were both, you know, they had, the grandparent was raising their kids, and from there, not only was the grandparent raising their kids, but they were both working like 12, 14-hour days. So sometimes would get home after the kids were in bed, have dinner. So they weren't eating. And they realized that when it was too late. And so, I mean, I hear that a lot. A lot from people. So, I don't know, just my thing. I went from unhealthy eating because you don't have a lot of money, so you go to the dollar store, get cheap food, or you go dollar menu, which is probably a $5 menu within the way prices are. So that's, I don't know. It's a whole different world, and I think we have to go back to some old-fashioned values. And I'm not saying women stay home and, in the workplace and, have dinner on the table and all that. No, but there has to be a balance for marriages, and there has to be a balance of kids and spouses. Like, maybe the wife leaves work on time on Mondays, husband on Tuesday, wife on Wednesday, Thursday. They alternate. At least someone be home, and the husband not come home past 7:00, because whoever, or the wife on the days. And if you're home by 7 and the other spouse, so whoever's home earlier, cooks, and cook a good healthy meal and sit down with your children and have a conversation. So many people, they're like, I had no clue about their children because they were too busy. Oh, I need money. Here you go. I need money. Here you go. And little did they know, and I've heard this story because a kid came when my daughter was a senior in high school. And he spoke, and he was an athlete, and he lived in a very, great neighborhood. His parents made an excellent living, and he did sports and had great grades. And his senior year got hurt, but they gave him pain medication. And then after that, he went to college, and he was on his road to becoming a doctor. Great grades for it, scholarship. And when they cut off his pain meds, he said he found it easy. I forget what the drug of choice was, but it was a cheap drug. And he would say to his parents, oh, I need money for that. I need money for that. And they weren't paying attention to what they were giving him money for. And they just gave him money, and he bought drugs with it. And he was then clean, and I think he went back to school, and now he's has his master's in counseling or something. And so very sad to me that this kid who was on the road to becoming a doctor became a drug addict because it was so important. It was so emphasized, he said, about the sports, and he knew he had a football scholarship to go to school, and he knew it was expected to do well, and he just kept. And then when they took away his pain medication, he needed a way to get that high because he was addicted to them. So very much talking to parents, and it was very eye-opening. And my niece kept saying to my sister, oh, I need $5. Oh, I need $5. And then I said, when did she, I said her name, but when did she start smoking? And she was like, what? She's not smoking. I go, why do you think she needs $5 here? No. And then when she came back, she goes, Raina, did you just go buy cigarettes with that? And she's like, what? And my sister was like, how did you know? And I'm like, how did you not know? And I mean, some people, and don't get me wrong, some people are just naive in their thinking. And they're like, oh, yeah, they need $5 for lunch or $5. And I know kids that took lunch money and did not eat lunch, but bought cigarettes or bought booze because they were alcoholics. And, parents giving you $5 a day for lunch, and I know it's probably 20. They're like, oh, yeah. They don't realize that they're either buying drugs, buying cigarettes, or buying booze with it. They don't realize it. And it's like, okay. So I'm watching all these people. I'm sitting in a McDonald's parking lot. And all these people, it's an in only, and constantly, I mean, every car that came in that way is pretty much going out that way. And I just witnessed, right now, there's 2 waiting to exit. And I can't even count how many I witnessed doing that. Crazy. Cops should be sitting there and make a fortune. But, all right, I really have to say goodbye, because if my boss is looking at on the cameras at work and be like, oh my God, she's been gone almost an hour. Where the hell is she? And I come back with a Wendy's, so iced tea, those fries will probably be gone by then. She'll be like, what the hell? So, all right. So just from food for thought, what I've been thinking about today. And I will be walking tonight. It's windy again. It's a little colder than last night. So I'm just pretty today. So this will be changed. And I have jeans on. So I'll have to change that when I go home. So hopefully the hawks aren't circling tonight. But all right. Talk to y'all later. Bye.